Mr. Bloxham here from Bay House School. I'm going to be making Ikea meatballs with their creamy sauce and these lingonberry, but I haven't got any lingonberries. Now I looked them up, I knew they were a bit like cranberries. They're actually called mountain cranberries. I haven't got any of them. Anyway, you can see the recipe there, so obviously take a photo of that if you want to make these. This was shared from Ikea because people can't go there. They've did it so you can make them at home. So if you can see here, I've got red currants from the freezer here, so I'm going to make some with that. It's not exactly the same. These are a little bit more sour than cranberries, so I'm just going to boil these up with some sugar, 3 tablespoons of sugar, boil them up. Normally you strain red currant jelly. They normally have it a bit solid, so I'm going to save a bit to have with it. Then the rest of it I'm just going to make into red currant jelly, which is a bit like jam, but you'll need to strain it so you haven't got all the bits. So I'll just boil this up and then strain it basically. So I'm going to put some sugar in here now. I'm going to put good 2 tablespoons of sugar, put this on, and that's more or less done. So that's the first job. Put that one on here, not lighting very well. So when that comes to the boil. So the next thing we've got here, can you see this all here? So on here we've got some mince. So that was 500 grams of mince. That's beef mince and pork mince. I haven't got any pork mince, and I don't really want to go shopping, so I'm just going to use 4 pork sausages, which is roughly 200 grams, 1 onion, 1 garlic. Now that's what I would normally put in meatballs, not always have mixture of meats, but I'd always put onion and I'd normally put garlic in. It's got an egg in, that's to help bind it. Then it also has some breadcrumbs to help bind it. It says 100 grams, I've only got 50 grams. And it says 5 tablespoons of milk, but where I haven't got so many breadcrumbs because they'll soak them up, I've only got 3 tablespoons of milk. This is all for the sauce here, which is like a creamy beef sauce. So it's like beef stock with cream in, a little bit of, should be Dijon mustard, beef and vegetable stock, a little bit of soya and cream. So it's a bit of a creamy sauce, which is unusual because normally you'd have tomato. So salt. With mince, one thing I have found before, you'll need quite a lot of salt, otherwise they'll be tasteless. So I've got 500 grams here, tip these in. Make sure you take the paper out. My pupils often forget to. So I don't get all meat on my hands, I'm cutting the onion up first. So cut it in half, 90% of the way through. Spin it round. Nice and reasonably fine for this, because I'm not going to fry it separately like fried onions are going to be in it, so you need them reasonably fine, yeah? So quite fine with them. This was quite a big onion, so you might look how much I've got, that's only out of half of one already. So you might need only half, or depends how big your onion is. I quite like onions, so I'm definitely going to put in some. 90% of the way through. Spin it round. And don't fall apart. Nice and small, just chop this bit up. Now for the garlic, what you do is you crush it with a knife, put the knife on it with your hand flat, push it, and it just falls out. I don't like the garlic crushes because they're a pain to wash up, especially for when I'm just going to chop this really fine like this. Now if I was to make meatballs, normally the Italian meatballs, I would put more than 1 clove of garlic in, but I'm trying to stick to their recipe, and I would put some herbs in it if it was like an Italian meatball. That's one way how they're the Swedish ones are different. And it's very unusual to serve cream with it. It's a bit like beef stroganoff really, that's beef with cream, or like a sort of a beef cornmeal type thing. So to take the sausages off, obviously you can have pork mince if you can get it from the shop. I cut it along here. Then I just lift the sausage up, and that's the easiest way to get them out. Normally they fall off quite easily. These ones are actually sticking to the sausage meat quite easily. So these ones have got a few herbs in anyway, but you can just buy some pork mince if you can buy some. So as you can see, these ones, there's synthetic skins on these because they're breaking quite easily. Normally they fall off really, really easily because I make sausage rolls many a time. At school we make them. I make them 3 or 4 times every term with the pupils, and sometimes and with the year 10s as well we do sausage rolls as well. So normally we just get the sausages rather than the sausage meat. For the year 10s actually we make the sausages, but for the year 8s we buy the puff pastry and they only do the simple stuff. The year 10s have to make the puff pastry, and we do Scotch eggs as well. So yeah, that's normally really easy to get the skins off, by the way. So that was a lot harder than normal. But that's quicker than squeezing it out at the end. Then you don't have to use your hands if you don't want to. This will make quite a few meatballs. Now one thing I do notice, I think I've had them only once before in Ikea. I've been there a few times before to get some furniture and stuff. Oh, and I can put some pepper in this as well. So I'm also going to maybe put a bit of pepper in. Should have got that ready before really, because I've got raw meat on my hand now. So now and I've put some hot water in the sink ready to wash my hands so I don't contaminate the tap. So you need to give this a good mix up. Oh, I haven't put the breadcrumbs in yet, or the egg. And the milk, so I'm chucking everything in here, all the rubbish in this bowl here, and the milk. Yeah, normally I don't put milk in it when I make them, but maybe it's because they've got a high amount of breadcrumbs in it, so obviously if you're lactose intolerant you won't be able to put that in unless you put some soya milk or something in. So once this is mixed up, this feels quite wet actually, wetter than it would normally do, but I did cut the milk down to only about 2.5 to 3, but I did only put 50 grams in. Now they were a little bit, and depends if you put fresh or dried, it didn't say on the recipe. So if if you put dry in, that made the milk. So that's a little bit wetter than I would normally have it, but that would be fine. Now I'm going to make them. Now 2 ways, it says to fry them first. It says to fry them first. So what I'm going to do is it's going to take me a while to make these into balls. So I'm just going to make about 4. Then we're going to come back once they're all made and I'm going to show you them cooking. Because if you can work this out, there's going to be quite a few in here. It's going to take me quite a while. Thank you. So you'll need to see the next bit in a minute. Thank you for doing the 2.6 challenge, because this weekend is the London Marathon, 26 miles, and it's cancelled because of the coronavirus. So I'm doing a challenge, a sporty challenge, something to do with 2.6. I've made 26 meatballs, I thought that was good. So heating up the oil, I'm going to put them in there, then I'm going to make the creamy sauce. So for the creamy sauce, you have to make a roux, R-O-U-X, and then I've got 40 grams of butter, 40 grams of flour, about 200 millilitres of milk. It's going to be Dijon mustard, and 300 water. And I've got a beef stock in here and a vegetable stock. I've already put the vegetable stock in. I only need 1 teaspoon of soy sauce later. I'll put might as well put the mustard in now. I'm only going to put a little bit in because it's quite strong, this English mustard. It's stronger than Dijon mustard, which is like a French mustard. 1 teaspoon of this, just to show you that. This melts because I'm going to make a roux of this. This is getting nice and hot now. Probably try and get them all in one go. You could do them in batches. You could just put them straight in the oven. But they taste a little bit better if they're fried first. And I'm following their recipe. Catering places, to save themselves time, because they're cooking hundreds of these. Because if there's 26 in there and there's 6 to a portion, there's only enough for 4 there. Or just over 4. So I'm going to fry them and then put them in the oven. So I've got an oven-proof dish. This is what it says. You could just put them on the tray here, but it says an oven-proof dish covered with foil. So you're going to go in there in a minute. I'll get that out of this way because that's got raw meat in, so I didn't manage to touch it. Where it was on the tray, I just dipped them in. Now I'm going to, don't stir them too much. A lot of people when they do them, they like to just stand there and stir them. If you do that too much, then they fall apart. That's one advantage of cooking them in the oven. So I'm just going to do that a bit. So this one here, the butter's melting. Real butter that's in there. Then I've got 40 grams of flour that will make a roux. Normally this would be good for something like cheese sauce, which would be for the bechamel until it's got the cheese in it. So flour in there. I either need my spatula or a wooden spoon. Put the lid on the floor. Put that over there. So stir it. So I'm going to show you the roux. I'll come and bring it over there in a minute. So here we've got a roux. I'm just going to cook that out for a little bit. I'm going to just cook that out for a little bit. You can not cook it out, but then it's less likely to taste floury if you cook it out of it. So I'm going to cook that out a little bit for about 1 minute. Then I'm going to add the liquid. I'm going to add the cream last. I don't know if it says that on the thing, but I normally add the cream last. So the sauce won't take long. The meatballs will take a lot longer. On the recipe, it says serve it with either new potatoes or mashed. So I'm stirring them round now. As you can see, get a bit brown. They're not falling apart. The egg and the breadcrumbs are doing their trick here, so they're not falling apart mainly. So that's how. So I like them a bit of flavour. The roux is done now. I'm going to add the liquid in. This was a bit warm earlier, but you could have with boiling water out the kettle, that would save time. This will go like a sauce, like a bit like gravy, and it's going to be like a creamy gravy. Just bring that to the boil. Oh, my sauce is done here, my sweet sauce. So I'm going to strain some of it, but I'm going to serve some. This has gone very runny now. I don't think I've got any water in it whatsoever there, but they were frozen. As you can see, these are not like cranberries. There's no water in that whatsoever, just frozen berries and sugar, but obviously that's why you need to boil this up. And you need to make sure it's thick. How you make sure it's thick is you get some of this liquid here, put it on a cold saucer, and then when you pull your finger through it, it should keep separate. If it goes into one, then it's a bit runny, but depending on what you're having, that's how you can tell if jelly or jam is set. Okay, now I'm going to boil that up a bit longer. Where there's so much water, I think that does need boiling for a bit actually. But I'm going to take a little bit out, just to show you. I'm going to put some in this jug here, so I can have it with the dinner, but mainly just the berries. And I'll pour some of the liquid away. Cranberries, I just normally boil them with a little bit of water, sugar, sometimes orange, and some people put port in it. That's my sauce made, but I'm going to strain the rest later. The roux here is thickening up. This is all the liquid in it except the cream. But it's a creamy sauce, a bit like stroganoff, like I said earlier. So I put all that in, that's all finished with. Most of this cream, not going to put it all in, but most of this cream I'm going to put in a minute, and I'll show you that when it's finished. Yeah, mashed potato. I asked my son earlier what do you want, new potatoes or mashed. He chose mashed, but obviously you can have anything you like with it. We're also going to have some peas with it later. So once they're fried, as you can see, they've got a bit of colour on. I'm going to fry them. Actually, that'll probably, to speed them up a bit, I'm going to fry them for a little bit more. 1 more minute, then that's it. So while the sauce is going, put that on there. So that's all gone thick now, the sauce. The beef stock's still dissolving. I'm going to add the cream, bring it to the boil, and then more or less that's done. Yeah, it's the beef with creamy sauce. Oh, I was going to save some, but I chucked it all in by mistake. And meant to have Dijon mustard, that's the main thing that's different. Okay, that's going to be done. Just going to put these in the oven. As you can see, got a bit of colour on. I can get them out with a fish blood, so I haven't got all the fat in there. Oh, this was 12% mince, by the way. You can use whatever. Lean should be under 7 these days, the newest law, I think. The normal mince only has to have under 20% in. For pork, it should be under 25 is the law at the moment, unless I'm not up to date. So into here, as you can see, there's a little bit of fat there, but I did put some oil in there to give them a bit of colour. They do taste better. They do taste better. They get a bit of the thing called the Maillard reaction. They're going to go in the oven till they're cooked. It says 25 minutes in the recipe. Probably don't need quite that long if you fry them first. The songwhist is going to show you the sauce. Then I'm just going to show you them served up on the plate, as you can see. Sauce is more or less done. I'm just going to simmer it for a bit, turn it up. Be careful once you add the cream not to bubble it too much. Sometimes it separates if you bubble it too rapidly. As you can see, that's okay in there. Thank you. So you'll see it in a minute served up. Thank you. We've got the meatballs here. I've got the jam here. I'm just going to put that in the fridge just to show you, to see if that's thick enough if you were to make the real jam with it. So that goes in the fridge. That's going to be okay for today anyway, but if you're going to store it for a long period of time, normally it would set. The meatballs are cooked. I've probed these over 75. We've got 26, so we're going to have 8 balls each. And 8 balls, yeah, times 3 is 24, that's good. So 4, 5, 6, I think I'm not sure how many they give you in. So actually I'm going to put that on just to show you for a minute so you don't fall off. Then the sauce I've got here, I can either put it over the top or around the side. Yeah, tastes a little bit like people. I would normally have, it's not quite like stroganoff, I said that earlier. Stroganoff actually would have some brandy in it. Then my wife doesn't like this, but my son and I will like this. I'm going to pour some of that over the top here. And you can have this served with new potatoes if you wanted. So there you go. We've got some puff pastry cooking in here. We're doing mille fleurs, as you can see in there. There's some mille fleur cooking in there.